Hey guys, Fred Kynes, AKK, all kinds of classics. Here today, we're into episode 44, and we are building the exhaust system using stainless steel, 2.5 inch pipe. We're making the connections and running her all the way back. This is an interesting one, and I tried to squeeze almost everything into this one video. There might be a straggler moving into the next one, but you should enjoy this one. Like, subscribe, keep the comments coming. Take care.
Well, I rolled the chassis forward. I've got the wiring harness in now, and decided to mount up the starter motor and begin the exhaust. For make sure my clearances are there. I just love this starter setup because the wiring can come up and snake up into the firewall, and again remain hidden. Ideally you'll see the wiring for the induction system, the ends and stuff, but it won't be messy on the firewalls. I'm going to try to hide everything. Anyway, I snaked off the header and made sure I could clear that starter with as much room as possible and miss everything and sweep out, because I got to hit this location for the exhaust, the holes in the chassis. And then of course I didn't want to sweep up too soon, because I want to be able to get my cable into shift, and that should actually keep quite a bit of the heat away. As far as ride height is concerned, the exhaust is low. It is not lower than the cross member though. And you can see, just snake down here, there's the trans pan, and there's the oil pan. So I got a good height. I did want a connection right here so that I can leave those on and slip this off. It gets kind of tight in here to be able to have enough extension to get the mufflers in and to be able to slip that off. So I'm building it out in that manner. The other side isn't going to be I don't know yet, but probably won't be the same, simply because I'm open. So in this case, if I can get out and get up to that point right there, with maybe a small, or with a similar S, but I can make it a long S, and maybe even an upsweep. I'm just going to make sure I stay well under the fuel supply and return, and again, no lower than the other side. But this of course is pretty clear in the sense that I'll be able to run it back. So it is going well. I will build this side back, make it the same. I want to segment into 3 builds here. Segment it so that these are exactly the same length. The mufflers sit in exactly the same spot with the tailpipes. And then that'd be phase 2, is to come up and sweep the tailpipes. I'll drop the suspension bars out, the setup bars out. Let the chassis drop down to the frame. Make sure I sweep over the top of the frame, the top of the frame, but under this elevation, under this elevation, because that's the bottom of the floor on the car, and then I can build out my tailpipe sections. So it's going pretty good. It's kind of laborious, you're welding the sections together, and then I'm smoothing them out. You can see a faint hint of a weld right there and down in there, but I'm happy with it. It is stainless steel. It's not galvanized. It's a stainless steel tubing kit, and I might have already showed you it, but this is what I'm tearing into. And we're on our way to the back of the car. Anyway, it's a pretty fun project, but it takes a lot of thinking and cutting and checking and walking back and forth from welding to fitment to welding to fitment couple cases I bring the welder over because it's got to be quite precision in these areas for clocking that way and fitting the muffler and all that. So I'll tack weld it here, then roll everything back over there to finish it. So, but it's going good. And this side I MIG welded. I did buy the TIG tungstens, but I'm having good results. I may crack them out a little bit later. But right now, I'm so comfortable with MIG welding, and I can get the results that I do realize it's a lot of extra work in terms of time, but I'm just comfortable with it right now. So I'm staying with the MIG right for now. So, well, I'll keep on trucking and keep you up to date with what's going on. So maybe I should show you. In this case, I'm using straight carbon. And the wire, I got 2 spools of, no, it's mild steel, 2 spools of 308, I think it is. Yeah, 308L. 2 spools of that. And trying to keep the exhaust clean, so I got my jaw protection on here so I'm not crushing. I got a little bit of give in there, but I can hold stuff. And then just working my welds with a 3M roll lock. These are the best thing on the market as far as tearing in and lasting. And then I can buff it down. I take it typically to a 120, and then I DA it with a 320 down to a 320. So so that it looks like stainless steel and dull and hides the welds as much as possible. So all right, guys, I'll keep you posted. All right, this is where I got to. You saw this, but I'm kind of looking at the different angles that I have in the box. Got 45s and I got 90s. And I've decided I want total symmetry. I did test, and you can see that I've got this starter pipe is on now. Got the header piece made. But now it worked out such that I had the stub that's in the muffler to that 45. I had that in there, and I can get really nice symmetry. I know the body will be sitting on it, but it just is beautiful. Really nice symmetry. If I just copy this affair right here, if I copy that onto that side, it just looks really pretty. And so I'm going to go with that. Number one is, I got a model to copy. But so I'll come out of there, do that little S-curve thing. And quite frankly, it consumes exactly what I needed to consume anyway. So I got my sections that it'll give me this remainder. And when I cut the pipe laying on the ground there, for the stub there, put in the S-curve, I'll wind up with a similar stub that I'll put over there, and I'll progressively keep my maximum use of the stainless steel pipe. I've got quite a few sections left in here. Looks like two straights yet, a couple of U's. I knew I'd have more than I needed, I guess, but at the end of the story, I got to do some convoluted mess and come out of here with tailpipes. But also, I did order an anti-sway bar, and somehow in all of this, it's 36 inches long. Let me grab a tape measure, and you can go with me on on this ride. It's a 36-inch long bar, and I want to mount it just because these are beefier than hell. I want to mount it. If I got to drill and tap, I'll drill and tap. And my inner frame to inner frame is just shy, so it can be trimmed. That's not a big deal. So now I can mount it in. That's going to work just slicker than snot. So what'll happen is I'll mount that in. I'll keep the exhaust pipe over on this side, get behind it, and come out. And that sway bar, then my levers will come off over the top of the rear end. And whether I weld it onto the rear end, just cut these off or not, I don't have a passion for using those. But they came with it. They're welded on. Yada, yada, yada. But yeah, that will work really slick. So I'll be able to get the anti-sway bar in. It'll span across there. Those will be the mounting tabs. It'll sit right in that location there. Come off on this side of the shock. And the exhaust will go up and around and turn behind this, in this area over here. Probably before it, but it'll be turning. I want to get into, I can use this as a simulation, but it's going to sit in that area, that neighborhood right there. So that's going to work out really, really nice. That's going to work out really nice. So that's what we got. So again, I'll continue the build, running that side to the muffler, stick the mufflers on. I'll have to build the hangers, and I've been thinking a lot about that. I've got band clamps for the muffler, and I'm thinking I'm going to integrate something on those. Where are they? I just had one out. Yeah, you get your head wrapped around stuff and start thinking about too many things. Anyway, I got one hand. I got 4 of these, okay? And I really like this style. And they're stainless, but those can go on there. I'll clamp them, and then I can integrate a hanger to keep that on center in that hole. It's just sitting on the bottom of the hole right now. But that'll allow me some rigidity. I do, of course, I'll have isolation in there, but probably more along the lines of a grommet or something like that, because it's got to be rigid. I just don't want to transfer the vibration to the chassis. So we are starting to look like a chassis. I am so close to ordering the rebuild kit for that Hemi. I can taste it at this point. So I have to finish porting this side of the intake manifold. I'll be building a sheet metal intake manifold, more than likely stainless steel. I'm hopping between stainless and aluminum, but stainless looks so pretty when it's welded up. And the guy that did this tank, of course I did the tack welds, but the guy that did this tank is the guy that I would use. He can weld TIG weld stainless, and it looks just beautiful. So more than likely I'll just do a sheet metal intake, but I'll have to do an AutoCAD drawing and to get that up and going. I'm really tired. I'm a little bit sick today. I've been a little bit sick for a few days, and I think I'm going to hang it up. It's still daylight out, but it's Friday in this case, and I'm just tired. So get up in the morning, 3, 4 o'clock, get a few hours in, and then I'm headed to a machine shop with my brother and my son to look at potentially some new equipment for the shop. So that's the plan tomorrow for me, and maybe in the afternoon I can get back after this. This is fun, and I am making some good progress. It's just that I'm doggone tired. Anyway, we made some progress. We got a plan. It continues to build, and I'm really satisfied at how everything is looking. So thanks for watching, guys. Well, we got, let's start at the other side. I got the first piece of angle welded on, cut it, and I'm tacking it in so that I can get the look that I'm after. You can see now from here, they both come out of the engine. Similar angles. I never really checked that, but you know, the transmission pan isn't, you know, isn't my reference point. But in any regard, they sweep out, sweep up, and then come in for the mufflers. I just started welding this one. I've got this welded on. Get my hand out of the way. Got that one welded on. I'll weld this one. Sand. You know, just take it to a dull sheen. And voila. So I'm on the header pipe. I cut. That's a slip joint. Both sides. Turns up. Runs down. And voila. So coming together strong. Hey guys. Well, I got the mufflers on. The mufflers hung on the front. So I'm finishing up phase 2, and phase 2 is the stubs that come out on each one of those. And then I got to figure out my over the rear end. Now I got a jack underneath here. Took the setup bars off. And I'm in the process of making these rear holes. They'll be like those front holes. Okay, so we've got the weld seam up. Why? Because that's where corrosion always starts. So we'll let the water sink to the bottom. These are stainless mufflers, but creature of habit, right? So I've got my clearance. I got light all the way around there. I set it up, space that, clock these, you know, because you got that turn and all that. You got to kind of position everything as you're working your way to the back. These are loose still. But they insert that 3 inches, so I definitely can get them to seal. But I'm clamping there and here, and I hung there so I can remove those. If I don't like these mufflers, I want to go to a different, you know, a canister style or oval style. I can, you know, there have to be a left inlet, left outlet from this position anyway, and I can still hang them across here. I would have to make another bracket to weld to the muffler there in this example. But in any event, I've clamped, I staked my holes on each side. I'm making my tail stubs that'll come out just before the kick up, and I've got my suspension ready to articulate up and down. So everything's stainless. So I welded these on to each side now, and the way I made these, you know, I bent them in my little brake, and they're 3/8 holes with grommet inserts. Just a basic grommet assortment for a 3/8 hole on a 1/4 inch bolt. So they'll washer it. I'm self-tapping into that 10 gauge frame. Okay, and then on the bottom then I will put a, they're like a garage door nut. You know, when you assemble a garage door, they got teeth on the bottom side, and I don't have one. I don't have one sitting around here. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. So I run those down. I don't want to kill the rubber, but here I'm trying to reach a nut. And then from the bottom side, I will lock the nut, or lock the bolt, because it's threaded through the 10 gauge. I will lock the bolt on the bottom side. Washer, and I got space all the way around here. There'll be rubber between that washer, the frame, and the bracket, so I don't have the, you know, the tinny vibration, and they're nice and firm. My pipes are long enough so I can have a little bit of engine movement. I got my 1/4 inch of clearance all the way around, 2.5 inch pipe and 3-inch holes. So we are good to go. We are good to go. So I'm going to continue on the back. It looks really pretty from here. The way it snakes out and comes back, very symmetrical. So still thinking I might be able to get around like this. The shocks, like this tube is laying on the axle, but I might be able to get around these shocks. That story will be told when I get to the phase 3 of the exhaust system, is the tailpipe build, which I'm almost at. So going very, very well. Very happy with it. We will keep you posted. Well, folks, still going strong. I am over the axle now. She goes to full extension and full lift. I had to add a section onto here, and I'll put hangers back here. The tailpipes will come off. They have to come off up. I can just barely get those out because they get right to the rear end. You got to get the car jacked in a spot, or up on a lift to be fine when the rear end's dropped, I guess. So now I'm full down. Come on. There, I'm full down. And we'll go up to the limit on the shocks. Kind of hard to stay steady and hold the jack. Okay. Rear end's off the ground. Full height. Ooh, yeah, I'm just at the full extension. We clear the springs. I clear the bars. I'm underneath the frame rail. Actually, this is just under this surface, which was my gauge. You mean maybe 1/4 of an inch when it's full down. And I hit nothing. So, whoo! The anti-sway bar is supposed to be in here in a couple of days. That'll mount here and clear. It'll clear this. I might, it comes with weld-ons, and I might put them over here, or they'd come down here. Something like that, but it'll run in that neighborhood. If I have to, I can, of course, run them underneath this, too. But those are just, 5/8 or 3/4, I can't remember, but I'd have to measure. But that's some thick block that I could use, since they're there. I'm not cutting them off. So, of course, I can make an exhaust hanger, too. I probably will do that, but because I can come off of that big hole right over to there. So anyway, boy, it's going smooth. Finally, that was a lot of thinking and guessing. You can see the light around the hole. Same thing over there. Same thing there and here. So we are having success. Of course, it's rigid mounted there and there, and it will be there again with rubber bushings, but they only allow a little bit of movement. So shouldn't have drone. I should not have drone through the frame with the rubber bushings. If I do, I'll have to go to thicker rubber bushings. But this was the game for the weekend, and I am very, very happy with it. So we got from the header flange all the way back. Just got to do tailpipes. Well, there's the tailpipes. That was a wonderful experience. It was hellaciously hard, but they're done. They don't look like much sitting there, but I am going to end them, or the end actually, about where that line, about where that relief is, coming out just a little bit underneath the frame. I'll take that and drive that over. You know, I might want them to go straight. I might want them to go at an angle. I might want to go out. So at this point, that's it for here, because I will have to decide what it looks like with the fender and then just take it from there. I have a couple of 90s, one there, one in there, two 45s, a straight, a section of straight that's cut off. You know, of course, a few odds and ends. But at the end of the story, that was the way to go. You spend a couple hundred on a stainless steel exhaust kit like that with all the 90s. You're cutting off most of those terminations, you know, because I'm welding the sections together. But it gives you the opportunity to put in, you know, like this segment will come off here, and that segment will come off up there. Of course, the muffler will come off there. So everything winds up working out really well. And I've got to go in the house. I didn't finish the goal. Probably finish it in the morning. Let those pipes cool down after sanding and grinding. Thank you very much. Well, I got the tailpipes put on. They're just hanging right now. You can see I got some kind of thing going on here, but, you know, I don't know. And the thing is, you got to pull these out. You slip them up coming off this direction and then drop them down. And at this juncture, I can go up and get them out without the tank coming out. You know, just by getting the suspension to full extension, I can get enough room to get them up and get them out. So we're still thinking through it. These, of course, then slip on a tailpipe, and if I want to turn or come out, you know, anywhere within this area, I'll be able to run my tailpipes however I want them to look. So there you have it, though. It really looks good. Pretty decent sized project. A lot of thinking to get that going. But again, taking it in segments, getting out to here, getting from here past, and then working on the tailpipes. Keeps you focused on symmetry. and because you're retaining what your memory, you're retaining. You don't make a drawing for everything. You're retaining what you did on this side. You copy it, and so on and so forth as you work through it. So we got her. Just worrying about how I'm going to hang it. Well, I'm wrapping up the tail end of it. I used those old shock mounts. Ran a piece of rubber hose in, grommeting on both sides, so we don't have any noise. In this case, I'm clamping with T-clamps on the bottom. I just formed that piece, and it's got a little kicker right there on each side to hold the clamp on. I stuck a 45 on here just for shiggles. I don't know where the fender's going to be, and I might use something along the lines of tips. I put a 90 on here, but I took him off since then. But anyway, there you have the completed exhaust system. The only thing I didn't do is still all tacked up right here, so I'll need to pull him off, and I'll run a bead across this on each side. Just wanted to make sure I maintain clearance, with a little shake and that kind of thing. And I can, of course, increase the size of this grommet here too if I need to. Just get a little out, but I'm away from the frame on there, and I'm right away from the frame on there, and I like it nice and tight anyway, because there ain't nothing. You get too close and you start to get concerns, but I mean, that's adjustable. I can obviously increase my distance with a larger grommet. Same with everything in here. Actually, same with everything in here. If I just need to get a little more space, if I get vibration or noise. Anyway, there you have it. I'm back on the setup bars. I want to get the wheel alignment done, but that's when the engine gets pulled. The toe done. That's when the engine gets pulled. Test the wiring. And what? Oh, get the shocks on. Setup bars will give me the alignment though. So moving forward. Hey guys, just quick update. I'm running a little bit late. I got to get to work, but I tore, of course, the whole back end off, and now I'm in the process of. I got 1/8 inch cork. Each one of these has rubber grommets. They're not natural rubber; they're a higher temp grommet, and then that will insulate between that'll sit on the grommet, isolate the metal frame from that. Of course, the grommet isolates the exhaust entirely because it's rubber on both sides. And so I'm just adding a layer of vibration so that the metal surrounding, so that this metal doesn't have an opportunity to touch the frame, as well as heat. Cork is an excellent insulator. And then I finished welding on the flanges on the back. Those, didn't really do any setup here, but got those welded on. Got the tank fully mounted, wired. Fuel lines are done. So that's in where it's going to be permanent. And then I just started, I purchased a sway bar kit. You just gotta, ideally TIG these together. You got a left and a right, and those are the threaded tubes. And then building out the sway bar on my bench. So take on the inside, the bush, the way this is set up, your bushes go in each way, excuse me, and they're stopped by the end of the control arm. These weld onto the frame. Sway bar is completely removable. Heim goes in here, pointing the other direction, I believe, if this is up, right? And another Heim at the bottom, again, left and right, threaded tube. And then you just weld in. This is the stack up right here. One of these into here. This one into here. Like that. That one on the tube. That's for the Heim. Builds out like that. Can only weld on one side because the bush is on this side, unless I put it in a lathe. And then I weld it on this side because I can't get the torch in there. So it looks like it's, it's made of, that's 10 gauge. That's what that winds up being. It's not, anything phenomenal. It's only a rear sway bar. This is 1045, which is pretty typical for aftermarket sway bars. It's a 1-inch. Thought it was a 3/4, but it is a 1. It's a 1-inch tube with a wall thickness. Oh, jeez, that's hot. With a wall thickness that's substantial. I'd say 3/16. So it's good for the rear. I probably going to keep the car's going to keep a little bit overly flat, but if it's too stiff, you just take it off. Because the front is 1 inch also. The front is a 1-inch. Yes, the front is a 1-inch. It's right there. And car's not that terribly heavy, but of course up front there's going to be some weight, and back there's going to be nothing. But in any regard, finishing that up, build forward. I did test the wiring before I made all the connections. I didn't go through the taillight wiring. I mean, that's pretty whatever. I just ohmed out everything. A tip I got that I want to share from builders. They'll typically, the sending units, I've pretty much for the most part used OEM. On this, I used OEM. That's right. I used it from a Ford F-150, the sending unit and the fuel pump. This one's all aftermarket. So this is a silicone coating over the top of that and this, and then it's I put the rubber cap on top of that just to assure that there's no interference. The silicone I used is Goop. It's a good bond. It's silicone, so it's got a certain degree of heat resistance. That 250, 300. I used it to bond on the cork to the back side of the shield so that it comes with it. I mean, I'm not overly concerned about it being lasting its a lifetime. I'm more concerned about whether or not I've got too much heat coming into that, transferring into that area and destroying the rubber, because I see that, we should be approaching 400 to 500 degrees. This rubber should be well into the 300s, 400 to 500 in the exhaust system, and I did narrow it up, and the touch point is much less area, but that's still a fair amount of mass. The other thing I'm thinking about, staying on that same subject, is on these things, maybe I should put a hole in there. They're just clamp on, but if I put a hole in there, I can get reduce the surface area and allow more movement of air through it. Probably bring the temp down considerably. So I know I shifted, but silicone those things, guys. It might not look pretty, but corrosion on that connector after it's all assembled sucks. These are O-ring sealed into the tank and a weather pack connector, so on and so forth. Everything else will be weather pack. That's too old of a technology to not just take it and leave it as is. you will have, fuel gauges are great when they work all the time. Okay, and that's about it for now. I'll touch base with you when I make a little bit more progress, but I have to go to work.